Yo, what is up everybody? It is your favorite engineer, Drew, back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to get that UK style vocal like Central Cee or Dave and other artists in this style. So let's get into the video.
Play with my mind down, they gonna hunt you down. I'm puffing a blunt, I'm blowing out too many clouds. She in the clouds.
Alright, so right there you guys just heard the preset that I created for you guys that you can go cop using the link in the description. That'll take you to my website. Now I'm doing this video a little bit differently since this is actually a song that I kind of just freestyled, and I wasn't planning on turning this into a preset, but I figured that you guys would enjoy being able to use this preset in your own songs. This is just going to be the exact preset that you're going to find on my website that you can purchase right now. It's going to be the Central Cee preset and routed perfectly, so all you have to do is plug in your mic and hit record. The one thing I will mention is there's no free download in this video, so no free download. But before you start commenting, oh, this says free preset, this is still a free preset because I am still showing you guys all the settings for this vocal preset. But the first thing I want to talk about is getting your vocal level with this preset, because this is something that I get a lot of questions and DMs about, especially recently. So I'm going to show you guys what the raw vocal will sound like, just the vocal itself, and you're going to see what level this vocal is recording at. So let me show you what this is looking like.
Play with my mind down, they gonna hunt you down. I'm puffing a blunt, I'm blowing out.
So as you see, before we even turn on the preset, we're hitting around a little bit under -12, probably around -13, -14, around that area peaks. With my preset, just make sure you're getting a good amount of headroom, and I explained this in one of my previous videos as well. But just around that -12 peak is the sweet spot. And then you'll find that your vocal's not sounding insanely loud and insanely distorted when you're going into my preset. Alright, so first plugin we're going to talk about is the auto-tune. Now this is a simple plugin, Auto-Tune Pro, and I actually maxed out the tuning setting because I wanted that full auto-tune sound. Speed maxed out, note transition maxed out, and you're going to set it to the key of your beat, which in this case it was F minor. Alright, next plugin that I'm going to go into is my EQ. Now I use the Pro Q3, and the reason I did this is because I recorded this song with this mic right here, the SM7B. This mic just requires a lot of taming with EQ and stuff because it's not a condenser. It doesn't have that high crystal top end. Mic is very mid forward and very low end forward, so I really want to control that with this first EQ. So I'm going to start it off with a low cut at 104 hertz, and we're using a 48 decibels an octave slope, so cuts off all that low end rumble that you don't even hear in the vocal anyway. Then right here at 172 hertz, this is kind of that very bassy sound frequency. I just wanted to bring that back because I want to start shining this vocal up a little bit, taking out 9.5 decibels there, which is a lot, but it's how I have to do it with this mic. Then the next move I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tame some of these low mids right here, because it's just a lot of frequencies that just don't sound good with my vocal and this mic in specific. So you're gonna see right here at 236, 311, 415, 470, 552, and 663. We're not doing much more than 5 decibels max on this reduction right here, but each band's a little bit different. So you see right here on these lower ends, I'm doing a little bit less than I am when I get to 415, where I'm doing this max 5.31 decibels of reduction. But as you can see, it's giving the shape right here and just carving out some of those low mids that we don't need in this vocal. Then we're going to start going into the more upper mid section, and right here at 1300 hertz, we're taking out around 1.8 decibels there. Then we have a dynamic band right here at the 1970 hertz. I want it to be dynamic so that when it's poking out, it's taming that back a lot. So that's why I use the Pro Q3 with this, because I love the amount of adjustments and settings you can use with this EQ. And then at the 2800 hertz range, we're taking out about 1.5 decibels there. 4600 and 5000 hertz, we're taking out around just 3 to 4 decibels in that range, and this is just kind of that harshness that we wanted to tame, as well as we're doing a high cut at 18,254 hertz with a 48 decibels an octave. This is really special to do with the processing we're going to do later on, because a lot of the high end that you get with certain mics, certain cheaper mics, and mics like this, it's not a super clear high end, not a good sounding high end. It's a lot of this weird trashy kind of sounding high end. So a lot of times you want to kind of cut that off, because you can add better sounding high end post production. All right, so that was the first EQ. I'm gonna play what this EQ is doing to the vocal, and you're gonna hear the difference that it's making.
Play with my mind down, they gonna hunt you down. I'm puffing a blunt, I'm blowing out too many clouds. She in the clouds.
So as you can see, when I bring this EQ in, the vocal really sounds a lot more cleaned up. All right, next up, we're gonna go into the CLA 76, my favorite compressor to use. This one's actually from Waves. So here's my settings. You guys can copy this. Medium attack, super fast release. I know it says 7, but that means fast on the LA76 if you guys do not know. Super simple. I'm going to show you how much gain reduction we're getting with this compressor, and also I'm going to bypass it back and forth so you can hear what it's doing.
Play with my mind down. They gonna hunt you down. I'm puffing a blunt. I'm blowing out too many clouds.
So as you can see, we're getting around to that -10 decibels of gain reduction. It's going to get a little bit louder, but it's starting to control those peaks and taming it, just giving this vocal a little bit more level and even throughout my take, because my vocal take was a lot more dynamic. And then the next thing we're going to add is another compressor. This is my favorite combo, the 76 into the LA2A. This one I use the UAD, but also Waves has their own version of this. I actually have the UAD version, so that's why I'm using it. And these are the settings I'm using: 60 on the peak reduction, a little over 60 on the gain. So this is really where we're going to start to get a lot of that volume with this vocal. So you're going to hear a big volume difference, but as well as a very heavily compressed sounding vocal, which I really enjoyed in this specific vocal preset because it just adds a lot of character to the vocal. So let's hear what this is doing before and after, and you hear a good volume difference.
Play with my mind down. They gonna hunt you down. I'm puffing a blunt. I'm blowing out too many clouds. She in the clouds. Her makeup it look like a clown.
So you can see we're getting around almost -10 on that gain reduction there. But as you also heard, this vocal volume got super duper loud. So this is really what's driving a lot of that loudness into the vocal and getting it to sit a little bit more up front. All right, after that, we're going to go into the fresh air. This is something super subtle, and all I did was add 4 on the mid, 4 on the high for this fresh air. And this is just going to add a little bit of that top end shines here without and then with, and then you'll see what it's doing.
Play with my mind down. They gonna hunt you down. I'm puffing a blunt. I'm blowing out too many clouds. She in the clouds.
So as you can hear right there, this fresh air plugin just opening up the vocal just a little bit more, and sounds pretty good. The next thing we're going to add is another compressor. This is the RVox. I just wanted to get a little bit more controlling into this vocal and also bring back the volume a little bit. So this is going to tame back the volume because, like I said, we recorded this vocal at that -13, -14, but also what you just saw is this vocal is now hitting over 0, but now we're doing a little bit more controlling. And the reason I'm doing this is because I just really love the aggressive character that this adds to the vocal. So like I said, RVox right here, great plugin from Waves. I set the gate to -27.5. That's going to cut off all kind of those background frequencies in between vocal takes. Comp at -2.9, so nothing crazy, very slight, but the gain's going to be brought back by -5.5, so this is going to bring back the volume a good amount. So let's hear what this is doing.
Play with my mind down. They gonna hunt you down. I'm puffing a blunt. I'm blowing out too many clouds. She in the clouds. Her makeup it look like a clown.
But realistically, this is just controlling this vocal a little bit more and bringing back the volume, which is what we need. All right, after that compressor, we're going to go into some slighter EQ moves right here. So we have the Fruity Parametric EQ2. This is a stock plugin that you guys can use. And all I did with this EQ is I cut back a little bit on 278 hertz and 578 hertz. I just cut those back by around 1.5 decibels. And this is controlling a little bit of that low end mud that I'm hearing after boosting this a lot in compression. So tame that back a little bit, as well as we're going to add some presence into this vocal at 3000 hertz. We're boosting this by around 1.8 decibels. And I just found that, like I said, it just adds a little bit more presence. It makes it stand out over the beat just a little bit more. So that's pretty simple. I'm going to show you without and then with, and you'll hear what it's doing.
Play with my mind down. They gonna hunt you down. I'm puffing a blunt. I'm blowing out too many clouds.
So you see when I bring it in, it just makes that vocal poke out just a little bit more. Super slight, but sounding pretty good. All right, after that, we're going to go into another Parametric EQ2. This one's doing a little bit more crazy movement. And this is really where I add some body back into this vocal as we controlled a lot of it previously. Now we are ready to add some back in and get more of that controlled body. At 104 hertz, I boosted by 1.5 decibels. Then the next move I did was at 452 hertz, I boosted it by 3.6 decibels. And these right here is what's really going to bring some body back into this vocal and kind of give it more of a warmer feel. As well as I'm boosting 4800 hertz by 0.9 decibels. Super slight, a little bit more of that presence boost. And then at the super low end, we have a little bit of that rumbleness going on. So at 59 hertz, I'm taking out 5.4 decibels using a low shelf filter vocal. So let's hear without and with, and you're gonna hear what it's doing.
Play with my mind, they gonna hunt you down. I'm puffing a blunt, I'm blowing out too many clouds. She in the clouds.
So as you heard right there, this vocal really sounds a lot more full after doing those EQ moves. And it sounds a lot better than it did before with that fullness because we have a lot more clean fullness and not just this muddied up low end build up that we have in the vocal. So next up in the chain, we have this fruity limiter right here. This is just doing a little bit more controlling of those peaks. So all I did with this was I boosted the gain by 2 decibels, but then I brought down the limiter ceiling by 3.9 decibels. So that means this vocal will not peak over that negative 3.9 decibel ceiling. So let's hear what this is doing without and with, and pay attention to the levels with this one because you'll see a difference.
Play with my mind, they gonna hunt you down. I'm puffing a blunt, I'm blowing out too many clouds. She in the clouds, I make a...
So right there, this gives me a more perceived aggressive sounding vocal, but as well as it's taming those peaks back a little bit. So like I said, we were almost hitting that 0 dB peak, and this limiter really helps giving this vocal that final control that I needed. And then the final plugin for this vocal chain is the De-esser Plus. This is a free plugin, my favorite free de-esser on the market. If you guys want to cop this, link in the description for this. All I did was set the threshold to negative 17.1, and that was all I changed. And I found that this tamed a lot of that harshness, a lot of that sibilance in the vocal that I didn't like. So this really helps out with that. All right, so yeah, that is the full vocal chain. Like I said, this is going to be available on my website. It's going to be called the Central Cee preset. But I know my impression kind of wasn't that good, so please don't murder me in the comments for doing this. I'll play you what the song is sounding like now. So let's hear it.
Play with my mind, they gonna hunt you down. I'm puffing a blunt, I'm blowing out too many clouds. She in the clouds, I make her look like a clown. She wanna talk and shit, but she still giving me down. She put his chain on my wrist, hit it so good now she giving me neck. 5-star hotel, smoking on Reese, we got Ciroc.
But like I said, that is the preset. You guys can copy all those settings I just showed you. But if you don't feel like doing it, or you're just feeling lazy today and you want to go cop this preset for $9.99, go to my website. You will also get all these other tracks. So if you just want the full advanced version of this preset, go to my website. And also comment down below what type of artist you want me to recreate next, or what type of video you want me to recreate next in the comments, and we will get it done. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and stay tuned for future videos. Thanks for watching. Peace!